If you had the opportunity to drive this really cool rocky trail up over 10,000 feet in elevation in the Sierra Nevadas to a ridge that drops down hundreds of feet to a beautiful valley and lakes below, wouldn't you do it? Join us today as we tackle Kavanaugh Ridge, a 3-mile out and back high elevation trail that takes us up almost to 11,000 foot in elevation, overlooking the Hoover Wilderness on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevadas. Located about 18 miles south of Bridgeport, California, off Highway 95 and just north of the Virginia Lakes camping area, you'll find the Dunderberg trails and the Kavanaugh Ridge trail area. Most of the trails in this area are easily accessible by high clearance vehicles, though I do recommend a Jeep or something with four-wheel drive. You won't always use a four-wheel drive, but there are areas, particularly up near the top of the ridge, where there's more rocky terrain and need that high clearance and a little bit of extra four-wheel drive traction. Due to the high elevation of this trail, if you go out anytime in the spring or early summer, you're bound to run into snowed banks and snowdrifts covering the trail. When I visit this trail, it's usually been in late summer or early September, and most of the snow has melted off by then, so you should have no problem driving the entire length of the trail. One of the cool aspects of taking this drive is going from the broad prairie area of the low foothills up through the juniper trees, winding your way through those until you get above the tree line and get the trees that are really battling the heavy duty weather and the wind till eventually you are above the tree line. about halfway up to the top of the ridge, you'll come across this lake. It's an unnamed lake, the best I can tell. I can't find a name on any map or source anywhere. It sits at the base of Dunderberg Peak and appears to be a collection of the runoff that comes from the snow from every winter. It's a beautiful area to camp and hike around and just generally relax. I've noticed that quite a few people come up and camp and spend the day up here and don't go past the lake to the ridge up above. And I believe they're missing out quite a bit on the beauty of the ridge above, overlooking the Hoover Wilderness. So stay tuned as we get to the lake, and then past that, it's well worth waiting to see that overlook. I was last up here 2 years ago in September 2023, and this pond or lake was much more full at that time. It was a very good winter just before that, so it looks like it's dried up quite a bit this time. Once you drive around the lake, the trail becomes steeper and much more rocky, at least until you get up to the area of the ridge plateau. It still remains rocky once you get up to that plateau, but it does level out a little bit. Earlier I mentioned that pretty much any high clearance vehicle could make it up this trail. And while that's true, you need to make sure you have really good tires to make it across these rocks. These are not easy rocks to go across if you have regular passenger tires or all-season tires or some basic all-terrain tires. You want to make sure you have puncture-proof tires. This is my third trip up Kavanaugh Ridge, and the first time that the wind was very mild, very little breeze. The first two times the wind was so strong coming from the west that you literally felt like you could lean out over the overlook and not fall over because the wind was blowing so strong. It's amazing that this time I caught it just the day after the storm, and it really was pleasant up there.
See him? How's it going? You guys stay there?
I got it.
Cool. Have a good one.